Sam, it's time for me to introduce you to your new crush.
Go on.
Canadian Club Lemon Crush.
Of course, the taste buds have been screaming for a change.
And Canadian Club Lemon Crush is listening, with its balance of lemony zest and the smooth taste of Canadian Club.
Right now, there are 2,500 six-packs to be won. Scan your can or enter online for a chance, and always drink responsibly.
Canadian Club Lemon Crush. This zesty refreshment is your new crush.
Welcome back to SugarMamma's Fireplay. I am your host, financial planner, Canna Campbell, and as always, I'm here every Monday morning at 5 a.m. and every Friday morning at 5 a.m. And I'm here to help kickstart and close your week with powerful conversations around money and investing. And these conversations are designed to help spark inspiration, ignite essential action in your day, and of course, fire up your financial confidence when it comes to your own financial goals and dreams. Now, today I am very excited because this is a topic that I had burning in my mind for months, and it's a conversation that has been really bubbling away inside of my head for far too long. So I am thrilled to be finally sitting down, recording this, and sharing this with you. And it's all about AI, artificial intelligence, and how it's changing not only the way that we work, but also how we are actually building wealth. You see, everywhere we look right now, headlines are shouting at us that AI is coming for our jobs, whether you work in law, medicine, transport, teaching, or even creative fields. AI is completely reshaping industries, looks like and feels like lightning speed. It's rewriting job descriptions, it is automating tasks, and yes, replacing some roles, even those ones that we thought were safe and secure. And even in my own profession, financial planning, I've felt it. I've seen people turning to tools like ChatGPT to create what they believe are financial plans. Sure, these plans may be dangerously misleading and they may not even be accurate or compliant, but it still changes how people are seeking advice today. Which is why instead of fighting AI or fearing AI or getting panic or frozen with fear, I've decided to completely embrace AI, to understand it, to learn from it, and to use it to my advantage, my financial advantage, particularly when it comes to my own FIRE goals and my wealth journey. Because here's the thing, yes, AI may change how we earn our money, but it can also help us build wealth smarter, faster, and even more efficiently. But only if we know how to use AI and apply that information given to us by AI wisely. So in today's episode of SugarMamma's Fireplay, which is proudly supported by moomoo, we're going to completely flip the story. We're going to reframe things and look at things from a fresh perspective when it comes to AI. We're going to see that AI is not something that we need to fear, but it's something that can actually help us retire rich and perhaps retire richer and maybe even earlier by giving us access to the kind of data, the insights and tools that used to only be available to professionals. Now, as always, I'm going to be sharing a lot about products. I'm going to be talking about my own personal investment strategy. So I need to remind you that before we begin, everything I share is general information only. It is not financial advice. It is not product advice. It is not even strategic advice. So please always consider your own circumstances and speak to a licensed financial planner before making any major decisions. All right, let us begin. All right, first of all, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the fear around AI, the worry, the uncertainty, that uncomfortable feeling within our stomach. AI is reshaping industries faster than most of us expected. Yes, some jobs will evolve and others, sadly, will disappear. And of course, there are going to be new roles and jobs created. But for so many people, that uncertainty feels deeply uncomfortable and confronting. You know, if you've ever caught yourself thinking, what if my role becomes redundant because of AI? You are not alone. I hear this all the time from clients, from colleagues, from friends, and I have wondered this myself many a time. But the truth is, relying on our wages has always been risky. We've seen companies restructure, we've seen companies downsize, we've even seen companies close their doors indefinitely. Economies go through tough times and whole industries can become obsolete. AI is simply the newest layer of uncertainty in our modern economy. And that's exactly why building other income streams that don't actually rely on our employer or our ability to show up for work, has never been more important. So when you look at AI like this, you can see that this is not about panicking, but it's actually about being proactive, acting on the warning signs that we're seeing right now. It's about creating money and, most importantly, creating the income that works for you, growing that income each year and watching it grow organically, even whilst you sleep at night. Because when you start investing, or you maybe even hone in on your existing, investment strategy, taking it more seriously, putting in more effort, greater care, and I guess a more fixated level of determination, perhaps, you start to build those additional income streams. Income streams that come from assets, not your own physical effort. Yes, this is passive income that I'm talking about. And I like to think of this about shifting from working for money to having your money work for you, to pay you each year for the rest of your life, whether you physically work or not. So perhaps we look at reframing AI through investing. This can be our catalyst to take that important action today or to up the ante on our existing investment strategy. When I first started the $1,000 project, I started with $1,000 that I hustled on the side. I completed all these different small challenges. I sold things, I did market research, and I cut back in areas of my budget. And each time my savings reached $1,000, I invested it immediately. And that money went straight into shares, investing in blue chip Australian industrial companies traded on the ASX. And the moment that buy order completed successfully, I returned back to hustling up my next $1,000 so that I could get ready to invest again as quickly as possible. Now, over time, with a conservative margin loan of $50,000 that I took out about 6 years ago, reinvesting all of my dividends and those small amounts have really snowballed in the portfolio. And that portfolio is now worth over $365,000. And this is the best part, it pays me over $16,000 a year in dividends. That is passive income. That $16,000 flows into my savings account each year or back into my share portfolio. And that doesn't matter whether I'm working, whether I'm lying in bed fast asleep, or I'm enjoying a holiday with my family. And for me, that is the important point of investing. Investing creates passive income where you aren't 100% reliant on your physical job or even having to actually work. Now, when you buy shares, and you buy shares in the right way and, of course, for the right reasons, you're not gambling with numbers on a screen. You're actually strategically buying pieces of businesses. You become almost like a silent partner, or that's the way that I like to think about it. And as that business earns profits, you get to share in those exact profits through the dividends and the growth in the value of that company through the share price appreciating. Let's say that you invest $10,000 into solid Australian industrial company, say, for example, a supermarket or a bank. And that particular stock is paying, say, a 4% dividend yield. That's $400 a year in dividends that you should be entitled to every single year. That is passive income. And if those dividends grow each year, that means that that income is also going to grow. It might be $400 a year in the first year and then it grows. It might be $416 in the next year, even if you don't add another cent. And if the share price rises, so does your initial $10,000 capital as well. So when you invest, your money is now working for you in two different ways. You're earning income off that initial investment, and it is also increasing in value. Now, that is exactly why I love to focus on long-term income producing, dividend paying assets, particularly Australian industrial shares and obviously listed investment companies such as Whitefield, Argo, AFI, WAM Capital, Brickworks. These are the type of investment vehicles that I love because they give me instant diversification and access to companies that provide the everyday goods and services that our economy relies on pretty much every single day just to operate and exist. Now, of course, we have to be realistic. There are no rose tinted glasses here. Investing isn't risk free. Markets fluctuate, especially over the short to medium term, which, might I add, is very normal and very natural. Dividends can also be cut or even paused. And building meaningful income definitely takes time, discipline, and patience. Shares are for long-term investors, at least 7 to 10 years, if not longer. And you've got to be comfortable with the risks and, of course, the volatility. But even with those risks, which can actually be managed to a certain degree, particularly with AI, these long-term rewards are so powerful, particularly when you stay informed and you keep your investment strategy consistent. You're reviewing your portfolio. You are adding to your portfolio whenever you can afford to by buying more, investing in more long-term passive income streams like dividends from shares. So how does AI help investors like you and me, and why does it really matter? Now, this is where things get really exciting because AI isn't just changing how we work, it's changing how we actually invest, and it's helping us make better, more informed decisions that are in alignment to our goals and even our dreams. Now, platforms like moomoo, they're using AI in ways to help make investing smarter, simpler, and far more accessible for everyday people like you and me. It's not just for the professionals anymore. Let me explain what this actually means because this is really important. Imagine logging into your investment account and seeing a complete, health check, if you like, of your entire portfolio. Not just your balance, but your exposure. The risks that you may be carrying that you didn't even realize until AI stepped in and pointed that out. The AI inside moomoo, in fact, analyzes your holdings and then identifies areas of concentration. So, for example, maybe, we upload your portfolio or my portfolio, the $1,000 project, and we discover that 60% of the investments are in the banking sector. The AI highlights that risk for you, making you aware. So next time you or I go to invest, to say add another $1,000, we can look for other opportunities, maybe other opportunities in other sectors to help add back that diversification and reduce that risk. So for example, we need to look at some healthcare stocks or perhaps infrastructure or consumer goods to help balance that risk out. And that's diversification made easy for our benefit. Or perhaps, you're looking at the market and you're wondering whether your portfolio is perhaps maybe too aggressive or maybe it's too conservative. The moomoo AI tools actually analyze your risk profile and recent market trends, and then obviously the company performance to help you give a clearer picture as to what you're doing and what you also need to be thinking about and perhaps even doing. So moomoo's AI tools actually help you make informed decisions, not irrational, emotional decisions. The decisions that are actually in alignment to your goals. Then there is the educational part of moomoo. So within the moomoo app, there are all these bite-sized videos built in. These are like tutorials. They're really easy to follow. They're really easy to understand. They explain absolutely everything that you need to know to get started and to build your portfolio. And you can even learn from the moomoo community. This is where investors share their insights. You can see what others are watching, what others are buying, what others are even selling, and of course, what is actually trending. And this is all within the one app on your phone in your pocket right now. Now, if you are just starting out with your investing journey and you're naturally feeling a little bit nervous or unsure, you can actually practice before you begin. Moomoo has this really cool feature called paper trading, and it lets you simulate investing without actually using your real money. It's like the perfect way to build your confidence before actually committing any of your funds. And of course, you don't start until you feel ready. Now, once you're ready to invest, you can even look at using Moomoo's fractional investing, which means you can start with really small amounts of money, as little as $10. And you don't have to actually wait, to save up $1,000 necessarily. Of course, if you have $1,000 and you're ready, of course, jump right into it. But know that you can use the Moomoo app with as little as $10 to get started, and you can build it up from there. The point is you're starting, you're learning, and you're going to start growing very, very quickly. I personally guarantee it. So as you can now see, and the point of what I'm really trying to get across is that AI is taking out those paralyzing and overwhelming guesswork when it comes to investing or getting started or where and how to add more to our portfolio. And this is where previously some of us may have just procrastinated or made and taken really risky, ill-informed decisions. Of course, AI is never going to replace our judgment, but it definitely gives us better information, better quality information to make decisions with confidence and decisions that are actually properly grounded in data, not fear, not hype, and certainly not trends. So, what exactly is my FIRE strategy? Because I've shared my own, fears of AI replacing my job. So, for me, FIRE, financial independence, retire early, is not about quitting work tomorrow. It's about creating choices, creating free time, and creating that flexibility in my life that I desire and I crave. The freedom to decide how I work, when I work, and what I actually want to say yes to. So, my personal FIRE strategy is built around small, consistent habits of investing as often as I can when I can afford to, but also respecting the time needed to step up and take action today. It's about being patient and acting with self discipline for the long term freedom that is actually realistically growing in my future and something I'm actually really proud to be working on and really excited about. I love investing. So when I buy shares to hold them for the long run. Buy and hold. I watch my dividends grow each year. I invest in businesses that provide the essential goods and services and businesses that have a long history of paying dividends, even if they have natural levels of market volatility. And of course, I always do my research using tools like this and AI to make great decisions so that I have no regrets. Now, when it comes to picking which stocks I want to invest in, I lean on listed investment companies for diversification benefits and some international ETFs. Now, both of these investment products, ETFs and LICs, they hold dozens of underlying companies and, of course, are managed by experienced teams. So it's like researching out some of the research and those day-to-day decisions, professionals who live and breathe investing every single day. But what I do is then double down on the individual companies that I want to own more of. But of course, only after doing my research and leaning on these AI tools that they have within Moomoo that we've spoken about today. So, for example, I might have, say, $20,000 in, for example, Whitefield. And I may know, for example, that Whitefield own, for example, say, Westpac. And whilst I'm happy owning Westpac through Whitefield, I feel like perhaps I want to own more of that bank, or perhaps I want to own more of another bank that's within the Whitefield listed investment company. I can use the tools within Moomoo to help pick which other companies I want to double up on and which other companies I want to add to the portfolio. And most importantly, I always reinvest every single dividend, either through a dividend reinvestment plan or having that money deposited to a separate savings account so I can manually use that money and go and add more once my limit hits $1,000. And of course, when I can afford to, I add my own money from my own personal budget and cash flow back into the portfolio. Now, over time, that steady, patient approach has built a growing stream of franked dividends that have been increasing year after year. And for me, I am not focused on the portfolio's dollar value whatsoever, even though I proudly shared with you that it's worth over $365,000. For me, at the end of the day, I'm focused on what that portfolio earns, the income that it produces, the income that it pays me each year, and if it is growing in the right direction. Because at the end of the day, it is the income is what's going to buy me the freedom. And this is something I highly recommend for you as you start watching your own portfolio grow. Don't become fixated or obsessed with the portfolio value. Make sure your eye is on the dividends, the gross dividends that you get paid each year, and making sure that they are growing in the right direction in alignment to your financial freedom goals. And here's where AI actually plays a really powerful supporting role, because each time I invest more into my portfolio or I'm simply reviewing it, I have such a greater insight and understanding of where I'm heading, the risks that I may need to start navigating around, or even the opportunities that I need to jump on and capitalize. And I'm helping sure that I remain completely focused on my investing objectives at all times. So with Moomoo's tools, you can actually do this for yourself. You can log into your Moomoo account and you can see your own share portfolio and the income growth over time. It can help you analyze dividend yields, it can help you track diversification across different industries, and it can even help you stay educated and updated with company announcements that may in fact impact your holdings. And this is all within the one place. It then obviously saves you time, it reduces stress, and it keeps you focused on the bigger picture here so that you're always feeling inspired and, like me, excited and empowered to keep growing and going with your investing journey and all of that success that lies ahead of you. So now I hope that you can see that investing right now is absolutely essential. This has got to be a part of your everyday life, just like brushing your teeth and putting sunscreen on each day. And that you realize that you need that additional layer of support that comes from earning passive income in your life, growing long-term passive income. So you might be wondering, okay, Canna, this sounds awesome. I get it. I'm on board. I need to get started. How do I do this? And how do I use AI to support my own investing strategy? Honestly, my answer is start small. The key is actually not about the amount, it's the action of getting started. So if you're ready, or you're even just a little bit curious, you can go and download the Moomoo app for free and explore the platform for yourself. See exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see all the AI insights, the data, the visualizations, the screeners. These all help you identify companies and opportunities and risks that are aligned to your goals. And even if you begin with, say, $10 or $50, that is the first step, and you can build momentum from there. And as you get more and more confident, you can start scaling up. You can diversify. You can let the magic of compounding interest work for you, especially as your knowledge grows from using all of the incredible free tools within this Moomoo app and, of course, the AI tools. And that's, how investing becomes not just something that you should do, but something that you understand and you control and you really look forward to investing. And with AI only adding greater power and efficiency behind your everyday actions. So let's come back to the fear that we started with initially. Yes, AI may take some jobs, but it doesn't have to take our financial independence. It can actually help us build it. If you can start investing, if you can build multiple income streams, and if you can use AI as a tool, a powerful tool, not as a threat, you can actually outsmart this uncertainty that comes from AI. Because at the end of the day, AI might change the way that we earn money, but as you now know, it can help us build wealth and build financial freedom. So please don't fear AI. Just learn from it. Use it. Use it to make better, smarter, calmer, more financially savvy decisions in your life. And platforms like Moomoo that are built differently with these AI-driven insights, these professional grade tools that are so easy to understand and to actually use and apply, with invaluable educational tools that actually empower investors, not intimidate them. Now, as we wrap up today's episode, a reminder. this podcast is general information only. It's not personal advice, particularly as I have shared my own investment strategy and some of the shares that I actually have within the $1,000 project. Please always consider your own situation or speak to a licensed financial planner before you make any decisions. And of course, thank you so much for listening to SugarMamma's Fireplay, and a massive thank you to Moomoo for proudly supporting today's episode. If you found this episode helpful, please make sure you subscribe, you're following this show, and share it with a friend who's been worried about AI. And join me next week as we continue building your path to financial freedom, one smart, intentional step at a time. This is SugarMamma's Fireplay.
Callum, it's time to introduce you to your new crush.
Go on.
Canadian Club Lemon Crush.
Of course, the taste buds have been screaming for a change.
And Canadian Club Lemon Crush is listening, with its balance of lemony zest and the smooth taste of Canadian Club.
Right now, there are 2,500 six-packs to be won. Scan your can or enter online for a chance. And always drink responsibly.
Canadian Club Lemon Crush. This zesty refreshment is your new crush.